Although the Quest 3 launched last year at its higher price point, it felt like for a while their headsets were quieter on the news of what was coming. The overall sales seemed to be lower as the Quest 2 was phasing out. Well, now it feels like it's finally headset season or VR season again, with big events coming up like Meta Connect, where we're expecting they're going to launch their Quest 3S, aka Quest 3 Lite, a headset that would use the same processor and have the same mixed reality the Quest 3 had, but with the older style Fresnel lenses from the Quest 2 and possibly a bulkier package, but ultimately bringing back another $300 headset to the market. And then Meta kind of surprised us with reports coming out that a Quest 4 was probably coming in 2026 and even a Pro 2 in 2027. Well, now with all this news going on, it seems like other tech companies have got to get their name out there in the rumor mill, with Pico showing off a new product that they have coming up, saying it's reality amplified on August 20th, teasing that this is probably their next Pico lineup of headsets. Their post itself says, for exploration or gaming, it boosts your MR/VR experience to the next level. Stay tuned, meaning that in less than 2 weeks, we'll have some sort of idea what Pico has going on. HTC also getting back into it, teasing that they may have something new coming, and not only that, but lowering the price on their Vive XR Elite, the headset that was kind of an answer to the Quest 3, although it used the same processor as the Quest 2, but added eye tracking, face tracking, all at a price of around $1,100. Well, now it's $900, as we know that something is supposed to be coming from HTC here soon. Meta had also surprised us by talking about how they were going to open up their ecosystem and allow other companies to create their own VR headsets, but use and license the Horizon OS, which basically is the same operating system we've had on the Quest this whole time, just rebranded to Horizon. Known companies potentially developing those like Asus, Lenovo, an Xbox Edition Quest, or even Razer. Now Jio getting in on the talks too. Basically more reports now that Meta is talking with the Indian technology company Jio about a possible license using that operating system that's now known as Horizon. And this would be for a new VR headset that Jio would be developing themselves. On top of this, Microsoft, one of the earlier players in the VR scene that's kind of stepped out, has reportedly ordered a bunch of Samsung Micro OLED to restart their XR hardware ambitions. Microsoft was actually in pretty early with affordable PC headsets known as Windows Mixed Reality headsets that were similar to what Meta is looking to do here. They allowed other companies to create those headsets. I actually owned an HP one, a Lenovo one, but they called them mixed reality even though they were basically just virtual reality headsets. On top of that, we've already told you how Samsung and Google are looking at XR headsets, and LG may even be reportedly working with Meta on the Quest Pro 2. It seems like once Apple entered the market and showed that maybe there really is a viable path for all of us, that it helped re-energize the entire industry. Those of you out there who have been here with me long enough though, you know that the VR scene has been around for years now and has been slowly growing in the background, but it seems like now every major tech giant is trying to get involved again, which is exciting for the future of the industry. But how are you feeling out there? We covered a bunch of games in the upcoming games list for this entire month, but one that surprised us was Wizard's Legacy. This popped up on the App Store now with Meta, and it's also in early access on Steam. This was something I was actually getting to play in beta, and if you want a game where you feel like you're Doctor Strange casting spells with actual gestures in front of you, this is the closest it gets so far. It uses a unique mechanic where you actually have to draw out different spells in front of you, and then you use those to fight. Different gestures also bring up shields, and it's a roguelite action-adventure fantasy game. Being in the beta, I actually got to help find glitches, and the developers were really quick to jump patches on this. There's already been a day one patch, making the game even better and feel more right in your hands in front of you. If this was one you missed or you had it on your list, it's now officially launched on the App Lab side of the store and over on Steam. I'll leave a link in the comments and description down below. It'll save you a little money if you wanted to check this one out. A big thank you to them for sponsoring this week's news, for letting us beta test their game and help provide feedback on it, and for continuing to work on patching it even post-launch to make sure people are getting the best experience. In kind of a strange deal popping up on Meta's main page, they're offering a deal now where you can buy a Quest 3 and get $20 in Quest Cash towards any app or game, and this seems to be paired up with Peacock showing off how you can watch The Office on the Quest, but a video ultimately showing the advantage of how you can watch The Office in mixed reality anywhere you want, even in the kitchen. Although it wasn't advertising you could do anything in the kitchen, like prepare food or anything. The person's literally sitting at the bar drinking a glass of water, which seems like, why wouldn't you want to do that on your couch where you'd be more comfortable? But a new deal nonetheless. It looks like it's going to be running until August 19th, and as long as you activate that headset by the end of the year, you'll get an offer in your email for $20 of Quest Cash. I hope this was going to be like a year or two of Peacock Premium or something, but I guess they figured you can spend your $20 on a month or two of that. I guess a small deal on a Quest 3 is still a deal, but paired up with that, some unfortunate news out of the VR industry from Meta, saying that they are shutting down one of their most prolific studios. Ready at Dawn was announced to be closing. This was made to meet budget constraints for Meta's whole VR AR division, which was ordered to cut cost by 20% by 2026. This isn't unusual for Meta to acquire these big VR game studios, but the question always from the players is why do they buy these studios to then not release another game and then eventually shut them down? This is the one that made Lone Echo, Echo Arena, and if you've been with the channel a while, you remember the stir it created when they closed up Echo Arena itself, when it was considered one of the biggest VR esports games at the time. And although Meta hasn't released an official comment on this, people from Ready at Dawn have been talking on social media about their feelings about it, and some of them still being very positive at the years they did get, the opportunities they got to come work at Ready at Dawn. But still a sad day and a sad thing to see with these studios that keep getting purchased or acquired by Meta. And along with our theme here of what it feels like Meta giveth and Meta taketh away, Meta's offering a very strange other discount if you get the Quest Plus subscription, which we've talked about before. It's kind of like PlayStation Plus or Xbox Game Pass. Basically, you pay a monthly fee, and every month they give you 2 more games, plus there's a back catalog games you can play, and as long as you keep paying that subscription, you keep those games. Well, now you can get Super Hot VR for 50% off if you have a Quest Plus subscription. It's not unusual for people to go on the Meta store who do actually have Quest Plus and see that there's additional Quest Plus subscriber savings. But this is one of the first times we've seen them clearly advertise one like this, as if they're trying to push people over to Quest Plus with this deal. I don't know about you, but 50% off on a game to me, especially a game that's been out as long as Super Hot, doesn't really seem like that great of a deal. I feel like if it was 90%, it might be more tempting for people. But the older games like that, you see them go on some wild sales, or if you're willing to play them on PC, a lot of times these show up in bundles where you can get them for extremely cheap prices. Seems like we're just seeing more and more kind of obscure random sales out of it, but if it saves someone money who wanted it, then I'm for it. More on the news of the whole VR headset race heating up. We talked to you about how the PSVR 2 got its first major discount right along the heels of them getting the Steam VR adapter out. Well, sales figures now are showing that the PSVR 2 discount made a big difference and doubled the usual sales, showing huge increases in the graph over on Road to VR, where on Amazon, the total PSVR units were much higher than they'd seen before. Although when you see the graph comparing it to Quest sales, you can see that it is a lot lower. Although this graph does show a trend of how it felt like it was getting quiet, as we see sales were down on Quest as we were selling out of more and more Quest 2s, and now it seems like something is re-energizing both of these on the graph. Also news out that the PSVR 2 could actually be used on your PC if you have one of the 20 series graphics cards that had the virtual link port. Pretty elusive port now to have on any graphics card, especially if you're rocking a 20 series, but meaning that some people out there who have a PSVR 2 already don't need to buy the additional adapter from Sony to actually experience it on PC. As far as games that are the top selling games this week, one that isn't a huge surprise that's at the top, Attack on Titan VR, which is only in early access and is only $5, is the top selling game this week. A bit surprising, as early news and reviews of it were saying it was really rough, that it clearly felt like it was early access, but at a low price of $5 and a big IP like Attack on Titan shows that people are paying attention. And not only that, but potentially because of that low price tag, it's actually getting really good reviews. Over 1,100 ratings, giving it about a 4.7 star rating so far, 77% 5 stars. People saying they're absolutely blown away. It's amazing. It's really impressive. You really feel like you're in the universe of Attack on Titan, but people citing the bugs, people saying that it's just okay, people saying they can't even get the game to open, or pointing out that they're really not kidding with the word early and early access. At only $5, have you already jumped in on this and checked it out, and are you excited about the game? As summer may be starting to wind down, at least for some people who are preparing for back to school next month, Summerfest 2024 on Meta is still going, and now another 2 games this weekend that are going to let you play for free for 1 hour on each. Smash Drums, a rhythm-based game where you are smashing drums to the rhythm, kind of self-explanatory, and Iron Strike, an expansive fantasy roguelike game where players actually get to party up, play it together, and work your way up to fighting the gods in the games themselves. So basically, if you haven't checked out any of these Summerfests yet, what happens is each of these games enables you to play for an hour. If you like what you're seeing, you can decide at the end of that hour, but either way, they're going to send you a 20% off code that lets you pick it up for cheaper. These games will already be available by the time of posting on this video, so if you're interested in checking them out, you can check them out each for free. No harm there, and they'll send you the coupon either way. If you already own either, maybe let us know in the comments what you think about, so people who are here and on the fence about it can check it out and see what everybody else thinks. In regular life, I don't consider myself an arachnophobe, but for some reason, VR spiders do hit a little differently.
Stay off me! Stay off! Oh, God! Jeez! Jesus, I hate this! Oh! God, they're everywhere.
But some developers even offering options now. VR game Dungeons of Eternity added an option to censor the spiders. They call it arachnophobia mode, so if you want to play the game but spiders are too much for you, you can go in and disable them and still enjoy the hack and slash adventure without spiders. The enemies do get replaced with something a little more friendly looking and not so spidery. It's funny that they offer this, but it is actually a legitimate thing to do. There was an amazing game I loved on PSVR called Farpoint, a sci-fi adventure where you got marooned on a strange planet, and most of the enemies you fight are pretty bug-like or spidery, but the smallest ones are jumpers. There were people that really wanted to play the game, that really liked what it was like with the aim control in their hands, but they would get to that part and they absolutely could not continue because these things would jump right at your face. I tried to point out that things only had 6 legs, so they were crabs and not spiders, but it didn't really help people much. But we talk a lot about accessibility options in VR and how people should be able to play VR games no matter what. What do you think? Do you think something like arachnophobia is enough of an issue that games that have spiders in them should offer this so that more people can play the game? I think it's an interesting idea. But what do you think out there? What's going on in your VR world this week? We've got tons going on. We've kept you updated. We're about to do some traveling, so we'll still be getting videos to you on the regular, but maybe a little bit more shorts, maybe some other stuff going on here too. But once again, as always, I just have to thank you all for being here, for driving the channel so far all these years, and where we're at now, it's absolutely huge. So thank you, and I'll see you in another reality.